So now the government would like women to be able to collect child support at conception and not at birth. Let's go to Comedy Hype for the video.
The Kentucky State Senate just passed a bill making men legally responsible for child support at conception. Yes, you heard that right, at conception. And the bill is now making its way to the House. If passed, an expectant mother can begin collecting child support from the state at the moment of conception to cover pregnancy-related expenses. Now, this comes after Alabama Supreme Court ruling that embryos are human beings. After finding out comedian D.L. Hughley would take to his own Instagram with a poll, and he asked, question, if child support is going to begin at conception, should DNA tests be mandatory? Now, out of over 3,000 responses, 78% said yes to mama's baby, father's maybe, while 22 answered no, you play, you pay.
Well, of course, DNA tests should be mandatory. This is something that is evident before this bill is passed. Like, I did a video on about it years ago, but a lot of ratchet women won't agree with it, as you'll see in that video as well, because they just, it won't allow them to commit paternity fraud, right? And pin a baby on a guy who isn't the father, but he has the best job, right? And then the woman don't get no repercussions against it. The government pours into this situation because it's not about the kids. It's about collecting on a return. They put up the money because in collecting from whoever the father is or isn't, when they start collecting, they're getting a profit off of that. So that's why they're so eager to hurry up and put some money up. That's why they want to, as soon as they can, be able to put some money into the situation. Hey, yeah, collect soon as at birth. So that's why they have a vested interest in this. But the part that don't make no sense to me is that they don't care who they're collecting from. They just like they give women the option to just pick a guy. And he's not the father. And even in a lot of cases, in a lot of states where you find out later that you are not the father, you prove that, you still can't get off the hook because the government doesn't care. You are a viable source for them to collect from, and they're going to keep collecting from you. And if you don't continue to pay, even though you got DNA proof that you're not the father, then they'll throw you in jail. So obviously it should be DNA tests at every pregnancy. And that's to make sure that we're not working backwards, right? You're not putting money into a situation that isn't yours. And also you're not putting time and love into a baby that isn't yours, because once those connections have formed, that's very devastating for a child and a father to be ripped away from each other, finding out that that's not your baby, right? And that child finding out that you aren't the father.
I mean, honestly, when I saw the bill, a couple things came to mind. Definitely, I think DNA tests should be mandatory. Because you do have a lot of bitter people that will put you on child support, not knowing whether it's your kid or not. And this is obviously relationships that aren't established, right? So we're not talking about husband, wife, or, girlfriend, boyfriend, somebody that has established relationship.
Basketball players.
That's another thing. I don't think it should matter if it's an established relationship or not. Like, it should still be automatic DNA tests just so people know what it is. Because people cheat all the time, as we know. And women are allowed to step outside a relationship, have a baby with another man, and then legally come and place that baby back on the husband. That's foul to me.
Whatever happens, where you're no longer together. But also, too, I don't trust this bill because the same people that are bringing this bill forward are the same people that overturned Roe versus Wade. So to me, it seems more like a PR stunt where it's like you're trying to clean up what you did. And even if it's not a PR, to tell a woman what to do with her body, like, especially I think they were saying, like, if a 10-year-old was to, get and become pregnant, she would have to have that kid. These are the same people that's now pushing this bill saying, like, oh, well, at conception. I think they're just trying to push this agenda that because they believe at conception a baby is a human being and they want, that baby to have human rights as an embryo.
And listen, so I agree and disagree with her on this situation. One thing, they love bunching the ability to be able to terminate a baby for their convenience in with women's rights. It shouldn't be your right to be able to terminate a life, right? It's against the law once the baby makes it out of the body, but they want to act like it's not a life while it's in the body. That doesn't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? And they always want to go to the extreme situation. Oh, well, what if, like, not only did she say cape, but she put it on a 10-year-old. or if a 10-year-old's caped and oh they have to have the baby. Listen, okay, if that's how they wrote part of the law, obviously that's messed up, right? But y'all always go to that extreme to act like that is the normal situation of what happens. When in reality, that situation is very rare. Not just for a 10-year-old, but for any age. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can barely find stats on it. But we all clearly know what's the more common reasoning for what happens here. What do women do? The man gets the woman pregnant. The man don't want the baby. The woman don't want the baby. Whoever decides they don't want the baby. And it's just a conversation like this. Oh, it's not the time for it. I gotta work. I ain't got enough money for it. I ain't got enough, I need to get this promotion. I ain't got my career off the ground. I ain't got my business off the ground. I'm still an entrepreneur at the starting phases. I don't know, you done had a baby out of your relationship, right? It's a side baby. So obviously you can't have it because you don't want your husband to know. You know what I'm saying? So most of the time, women are terminating babies out of their own convenience and then trying to put it as a women's rights issue or put it as in the extreme case of someone getting caped. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like that being able to be done. Now, where I do agree with her, with Symphony, what she said is that this is a PR stunt for them to kind of clean up how the world viewed them and how angry the world got against them, backtracking the Roe v. Wade thing, where, termination of life would be against the law in certain states. Now, I wasn't out in the street protesting that they should change the law, but I wasn't mad when it was changed because that's just how I always felt all my life. Like, I understand it's a thing that we do, but I never thought it was something that we should be, that should be right or that we should be okay with. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, the world has just gotten very okay with it because of its convenience, right? But I do think they was trying to save face with this, since so many women were against how they handled reversing that law. Then now they like, okay, well, we're going to give you child support as soon as at conception, right? They trying to like soften the women back up. And it's like, well, that's still out of pocket because while you're trying to appease women by giving them, child support at an earlier date and this, that, and other, you still are giving them this. You still haven't fixed the original problem, which is why are you assigning or making it so easy for women to commit paternity fraud against, men who aren't the father? Because you want to allow the government to still be able to collect all this money, whether it's on the right, out of the right person's wallet or not. And that's terrible to me. Fix the root of the problem. And make DNA tests automatic at birth, whether you in a relationship, whether you married or whatever the thing is. If a baby is popped out of a woman, before she's able to collect child support or do any of that, it should be established that we need to know who the father is before collection is started to be allowed. You know what I'm saying? That's just is what it is. But you tell me what you think about it. I know a lot of people ain't gonna agree. When it comes to the termination of life part of this conversation, most people don't. I don't expect most people to agree. And I just want to say, I do understand people having, being caught in situations and for convenience wanting to do it. I'm just saying that I don't think it's right. I've thought this way for most of my life, and that just is what it is. But I DNA tests should be automatic, and we got to do something to fix this child support racket that's going on in our country, because it's just ridiculous that men have to pay all this money and then for it not even to be your child. You know what I'm saying? But it's your boy P Cam. Let me know what you think, what you don't think. Get at your boy.